Hi everybody, today we're going to be talking about multiplying monomials. But before we do that, we need to talk about multiplying powers. Yes, those numbers that have a little tiny number in the upper right hand corner. For example, x to the power of a times x to the power of b. Well, this is equal to x to the power of a plus b. So whenever we multiply two powers that have the same base, all we have to do is add the exponents. Let's take a look at an example. Hopefully this will be easier to understand. If I have an x to the power of 2 and I'm multiplying that times an x to the power of 3, my product is still going to be an x, but all I have to do is add the exponents. 2 plus 3 being 5, so my result is x to the power of 5. Pretty simple, isn't it? So let's try another example. And if you want to know why this works this way is, well, x to the power of 2 is equal to x times x. And x to the power of 3 is equal to x times x times x. So when you multiply all these x's, you're really multiplying 5 x's in total. And that's why you have as a result x to the power of 5. So let's have a look at a few examples. Hopefully you'll understand this a little better. Suppose I have x to the power of 7 times x to the power of 6. Well, my result would be x to the power of 7 plus 6, which is x to the power of 13. I told you this was easy. Let's try another one. 8 to the power of 4 times 8 to the power of 6 would be equal to 8 to the power of, very good, you guessed it, 10. 4 plus 6 being 10. So we can do this anytime our bases are the same. Let's try x to the power of 1 times x to the power of 7. Remember, when an x doesn't have an exponent, it's like if it was raised to the power of 1. So this would be x to the power of 1 plus 7, which is 8. X to the power of 8. So as long as our bases are equal, all we have to do is add the exponents. Now what happens when we multiply two powers that have a different base? Well, in those cases we have to keep something in mind. For example, if I have x to the power of 4 times y to the power of 6, I can't do anything about this, so my result would actually be x to the power of 4 times y to the power of 6, because these two powers do not have the same base. If we had, for example, x to the power of 4 times x to the power of 6, in this case the bases are the same. I could write x to the power of 10. Or if we had y to the power of 4 times y to the power of 6, my result would be y to the power of 10. But if my bases are different, like in this case, well, I can't do that for those two powers. They must have the same base. They must both be x's or y's or any number. So let's try one of these problems. We're going to multiply a monomial, 2a squared times 8a. And this is the way we do this. First we multiply the coefficients, the number part. 2 times 8, and now we multiply the powers, the variables. A to the power of 2 times a. So this would be a squared times a to the power of 1. I multiply my coefficients first, 2 times 8, which is 16. And now I multiply my variables. A squared times a would be a to the power of 2 plus 1. Why 1? Because the a doesn't have an exponent. So this is a to the power of 3. My answer is 16a cubed. Let's try another problem. This time we're multiplying three monomials. It's okay, we follow the same process. We'll take care of our coefficients first. Negative 5 times 4 times 1. Remember, if a monomial doesn't have a coefficient, then 1 will be your number, your coefficient. And now we take care of our x's. I have x's in the first and second monomial, but I don't have any in the third. That's okay. Just make sure you include all the x's that you have. X and x squared. Now I do the same thing for my y's. I have a y in the first monomial, and I have a y in the third monomial, but none in the second. That's also fine. Just make sure you include all of your y's. Y and y to the power of 4. Once you're sure you've included every single factor, then it's just a matter of doing the math, doing the multiplication. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20, times 1, negative 20. X times x squared would be x to the power of 3, very good. And y times y to the fourth would be y to the 1 plus 4, 5. So our answer is negative 20 x cubed y to the power of 5. So let's try one more problem. This time we have x squared y times 4x y cubed. We'll multiply our coefficients first, 1 times 4. And now our variables. X squared times x, which will be, well, I'm just going to write it out first. Now you don't have to write everything out, but it's a good idea to do so when you're starting out. And now y times y to the power of 3. There's the y cubed. So I'm writing y to the power of 3. And now I can start my multiplication. 1 times 4 is 4. And now x squared times x would be x to the power of 2 plus 1, x to the power of 3. Now y to the power of 1 times y to the power of 3 equals y to the power of 1 plus 3, and you get y to the power of 4. So this is your final answer. 4x cubed times y to the fourth. I hope this helps you in tomorrow's lesson. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.